Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Welcome to the Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over 24 books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way, and this week we're talking about working on craft. Bum bum bum. But before we get into that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
We're sort of intertwined. I've just come back from my retreat and I went to Whitby for a week, which is just, don't know if I mentioned last week, it's pretty cool. It's idyllic. It was sunny the whole week. There was an eclipse. There was a meteor shower, but we didn't stay up for that. That was too much. It was that's too much,
Too much sky action.
Sky time.
Yeah.
But we did go out and watch the eclipse. We watched it through the jawbones of a whale.
Oh, right. Yes,
Surrounded by
of
gods.
course.
So I was like, okay. And the jawbones are about to be taken down. So it felt like,
For quitting or
dramatic.
for good?
No, that's it. They're going to cast them in bronze because it's like the third set of them. They're like, we need to stop taking the jaws out of whales to put them here in our town. They're dead whales.
Yeah.
But yes, and they decided, let's just make something more permanent. But yeah, so phenomenal week, really lovely. I had some ice cream. I did little walks every day, and it was like so sunny and idyllic. And I just got to. It's like it's a big enough place that you feel like, oh, I've had a good walk just doing a circuit of it. But it's actually very small. I went to Fortune's Kippers this morning, where the walls are like black with tar, which you don't want to think about, but it looks so historic. And there's just like rows and rows of kippers hanging everywhere. It's lovely. So yeah, really good. I wrote so much. I am a writing machine.
You are.
No one's ever written more than me. I'm the best writer in the world. I feel really good. But also I'm now incredibly tired and I want to push through to finish the book. So, I really, for this draft, it's an incredibly drafty draft. Like I really have tried to only write the dialogue and a little bit of description, but not make it a full draft because it's the dialogue is part that I really never put enough into, or no, I really never get out of, I guess. So yeah, I've written maybe 2/3 of the book content wise, but I'm almost at the end of the book chapter wise, which feels really good. So yeah, a couple more days of working on that and it'll be done this draft. And I'm very tired now.
Oh. So is that your whinges just you're tired? Life is
Yeah,
your hard
I'm
work
tired. I'm really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
To write a book.
My whinge is also that I am tired too. I've been skirting the fringes, the very, very outside edges of burnout, and I'm pulling myself back. I'm really tired, but I feel like I have refilled like my energy with like fun stuff. I took the day off yesterday and went to the cinema, and even though I walked like a million steps, it felt like a restful day, which is insane. To just not think about anything, like had a day off my phone, which was like, it's nice every now and again to be like, yeah, just don't look at anything, just be outside, and that was really, really good. My other wins. No, I'm not doing any more whinges. My wins are. I was on a podcast this week. I don't know if you remember this.
Well, that was my win as well. Oh my god, there was no internet in Whitby. The entire Whitby had no internet. It was atrocious.
Yeah, so we were supposed
nothing could be done about it.
No, we were supposed to be both on a podcast, but the internet was against us. So I was left.
I was in the past.
I was left to just like chat my way through a podcast on my own, filling the space of two people, and I have no idea what came out of my mouth.
You were being interviewed by somebody.
Yes, I was being interviewed by somebody, and it was really good, a really fun conversation. I can't wait for it to come out.
I'm so sad because I love this podcast and I would have loved to be on it.
It was really good, and we had such a good time. But when we're doing this, I always feel like I mostly know what comes out of my mouth. I'm fine with it, and then afterwards, I remember the conversation. When I'm on other people's podcasts, once it
Yeah,
ends,
nothing
but my
sticks.
my
I'm like,
brain's
who
like,
knows what I said?
what did I just say?
Yeah, it's
So
like you
we'll
just
see.
enter a void.
Literally rolling the dice on that one. I'm pretty sure it was good, but again, no clue what happened. Well, I'll tell everyone when that is out, hopefully in a couple of months. My other win is that I have written, even though I was saying I'm kind of like almost burning out, I've written so much. I've finally.
I wonder if they're connected.
No, the burnout was when I was not writing, and I think that sometimes is like my burnouts are more like emotional burnouts. So I wasn't writing a lot. I was only getting in little bits and pieces here and there because other life stuff was like pulling at me. And that's what makes me feel tired, is like more social commitments and
Yeah.
just like life stuff leeches the energy from me. When I'm writing, no burnout. Happy Sam could write forever. So I've caught up on so much writing over the last week or so, and I'm really happy about it. And I feel like I'm really back on feeling positive about like where I am in the book. I am behind my schedule, but I can still make it. Yeah, I love it. I've had such a good writing session today with our co-working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was such a help because I was so tired after like it's a long journey back from Whitby and I was like, I'm not gonna get anything done today. And then just knocked out 2,000 words. Like,
yeah.
great, co-working is amazing.
I'm always shocked at how much I can write when I can't leave, because I do like to write a lot in one stint. Like, and I will write like usually I'm like I'll just write 2,000 words and I'm done. But I wrote obviously like I think I wrote 4,000 words. And it does always amaze me that I can do that without distraction. But it doesn't
Yeah.
happen. It doesn't
This
happen
is what we're
often.
talking about in Whitby is should we have a book boot camp where there's like a whip cracker who's like, you've got half an hour, you have to write 50,000 words, go.
I think that would
Or
be
something more reasonable.
really, yeah, like it would be really
Yeah.
fun
And I think
to
what would be
have
interesting is
that.
like you could have it as like a fitness and fiction boot camp. So like you get to choose your own penalties. So say you say like I'm gonna write 500 words in the next 30 minutes. And if I don't, I have to run a lap of the field. And it's like I would do that.
Yeah, I think I would do that too. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Because you could forfeit then. You could
It's
be
like
like,
both
oh,
could be good. You'd be like,
well,
oh, I do
yeah,
need to, get some exercise and get off the chair.
yeah.
But also I'd like to get the words in. So win-win.
I think I'm on board with that.
Yeah. If anyone else is on board with that, let us know in
Yeah,
the Discord and maybe we'll put it on.
we'll try and sort that out. Oh, do you imagine we'd be so like I just wouldn't write anything. I'd be like, I'm just gonna work out.
I would not do that. I'd be like, I'd write a novel in a day.
Well, we'll plan it and see what happens.
hmm Is that all your wins and whinges?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Well, so we're starting a little series at the moment. We've both been working on craft recently and we're about to dive into a few episodes on it. So I thought this week we'd start by just having a chat about what we've been doing and what resources we've been using for that. So what you've been doing recently is different to normal.
Well, not much. I've been bad, but
Great
no,
start.
I'm the kind of like the craft that I'm working on at the moment really is just reading other people's work. So I'm still in that phase of reading some comp books in my genre or my new genre that I'm going to be writing in, and trying to kind of absorb like what's going on there and seeing whether I feel like I can raise myself up to that level of writing. And I think that that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Like I've got loads of books on craft, like how to write like romance and how to write better characters. And I've got like a couple of books on my TBR that are like more focused on that, which I have yet to read, because right now I'm trying to figure out like mentally, I have to have like a mental shift before I can learn like more stuff. I'm trying to have a mental shift of how to write for adults, which sounds really like dumb and easy, but as somebody who's only mostly written for teenage characters, the thing that I'm really mostly like worried about and struggling with is like, how do I write older characters? And so the books that I'm reading at the moment, obviously, are older characters. And it's not like they're so much more older, but the characters feel far more complex than what I currently write. And
Mm.
I'm kind of like grappling with that mentally of trying to see like characterizations and like the way that people talk to each other and people's internal dialogue to try and figure out like, okay, what makes that different to what I'm doing? So that's where I'm at right now. How about you?
Okay, that is interesting. I really feel like I like to fix problems. So even if I don't necessarily know what the problem is. So when I was looking at this year at my cozy mystery series that I started last February, I was trying to look at it and it doesn't have the read through that I'd want. Like it doesn't have a very good read through at all from book 1 to 2. Once you get to 3, it's great. Like people who get into it, but like not enough people get into it. And I was like, well, I can't just start a new series because I'll just have the same problem again. And I've written a couple of the series, but they were ones that were like I hadn't intentionally written to market. And so I was like, oh, I can kind of see why they might not have taken off. But this one's like I really tried to write to market and it just didn't do any better. Um, and so I was trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And I had various people look at it and including like a dev editor and various other cozy authors. And like there was nothing definitive really. And like looked at the reviews. And again, there's nothing sort of definitive in it. But I think what really stuck out was like a lot of people liked it, but nobody seemed to love it. Um, and I think kind of a combination of that and a couple of things I read in reviews and other people talking about what they thought people liked in their series. I was like, I really felt like the characters were just not like not necessarily strong is not the word, but like the characters were people that you were desperate to return to. I think they were fine for the mystery itself, like they were fine for the book. There's nothing wrong with the characters, but they weren't dragging people across the series. And because they don't have romances, which often do drag across the series, which also that's a character relationship that's like that's what you invest in. And I think because I'm writing cozy books, I wasn't starting with conflict in like friendships. The friends were friends already and they were just staying best friends. Whereas in a romance, they might get on, but they're then going to develop that getting on into something romantic. So I was like, I just feel like it's not that I don't have good characteristic characters, like they're not the right characters, and I'm not developing the right way. So I was like, I wanted to work on characterization. And that's where I started. And it was useful. I did a lot of things to do that, so we'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. But like then I was like, I really don't think that's quite what I mean. I think what I actually mean is like I want more I mean, I think where I've ended up is like looking at interiority, which is just really one aspect of character. Like that definitely felt like I'd kind of narrowed down into that. So like I did a lot of work on character that was very useful, but I still felt like I wasn't quite getting it in the main character. Then a lot of work on like looking at interiority, which is like how you are showing the character's perspective on the page without necessarily having them say like, "Oh, I hate that thing." You're showing their bias, their emotion, what they focus on, all those things, and like
Yeah.
the many different ways to do that. And like, I still think for me, that's not a strong suit. That's the thing I'm still working on. But that's kind
Yeah.
of like the broad area of things I'm working on, and like a lot of things go into that. Uh, and I've brought a lot of things into that, but that's the general area I'm looking at. Is like really how to make my characters more distinctive and like more on the page. And I also think more um un what's the word like not normal. I don't know what the word
Quirky?
is. No, but not quirky. That's the issue,
Oh,
right?
right, okay.
Is like a not real person. Do you know what I mean? Because I think I'm often writing people who are too real.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's like a little bit boring as the main character. And I want to write somebody who's a bit more extraordinary. That's the word.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That old word. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think when I read a book, I never read a book thinking, "Gosh, that person was so extraordinary. I love them. That's what I loved about them." But it's often that they're dialed up a bit. So it's like there's
Yes.
something that they did that's just a bit more
Yeah.
and a bit of like an exaggerated version of a real person. So I think I'm good at getting people to seem very normal, but that's not really what
Yeah.
people want in fiction.
Yeah, I think I sometimes struggle with that, and probably like that's something that I'll end up working on is like my main character not being somebody who is kind of dragged along in in the action. I mean, my characters aren't particularly at the moment dragged along, but I feel like they are probably like slightly like my main character in my last series and this series, almost like vague mirrors of me, where it's somebody who doesn't quite believe that they're that special, and refuses it the whole way through. And that I think that even writing it, sometimes I think, oh God, maybe readers will find this really frustrating because this person is like never once stepping up, always just towing the same line, and I really want to learn how to show a character's evolution in a book and a series. Like that's the next thing that I'm going to be working on, is like planning the whole series in one go. And I haven't got around to this bit yet, but the thing that I really want to figure out is like how to do a really good character arc and show someone's growth over 3 books instead
Yeah.
of just stalling in one and then being like, okay, well this is what they're like now. 2 more books after this, which I think is like always my problem. It's not quite figuring out how growth works.
Yeah. But I think what's interesting is like for both of us is like think about how you try and figure out what your problem is, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like you obviously do the best you can. There's probably tons of stuff that I'm not doing that I can't see or that I'm not focused on right now. Um, and I don't know the way around that. Don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to fix that. Uh, and I think we talked about, a couple weeks ago about like getting help and thinking about having different editors and how you trust somebody and how you evaluate someone's feedback. And I find that really tough and it's incredibly slow work. Um, and like, how do you how do you improve from that? Like, if someone's like, oh, I don't really believe this character, you're like, is it this character? How do I make them more believable? How do I do X, Y, Z? And I've had a lot of that. Like I've done a lot of critique groups and I've done a lot of um exchanges that have been really useful. But I think I've not previously done a thing where I said like I really want to drill down into this topic and I want to do specific exercises in this area and try and improve.
Yeah.
And I do think I really have done that, and I've been doing it for 4 or 5 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Like quite dedicated. Like I haven't done a lot of fiction writing apart from that, but I've been doing a lot of writing things that are useful. Um, but I do think I have the issue of like a main character. I think we talked about this maybe recently. It's like I feel like I'm too close to my main character. Like for me,
Yeah.
she must be like a normal person because like you're
Mm-hmm.
inside her head. And I think what's interesting is I've written my book 1, and the sidekick in it is quite extreme, and the prequel is going to be from her POV. So I kind of want to see what it feels like to write from her POV, and can I bring anything from that into the book 1? Um, because like obviously to everyone they're a normal person. The way they see the world is completely like is almost flat, right? Like it's normal. So I find it hard to bring bring like an extreme, like bring the extra lens of
Yeah.
you as the reader have your own flat view, and then you're looking at through someone else's flat view, and like how do you show the difference between your 2 flat views? And when I say
Yeah.
flat, I literally mean like you're seeing the world without bumps. Like you're like, this is normal. I understand everything in my own way, and anything that doesn't really agree with me, I might not see it or I might not pay attention or take interest in it. Like you have flat in the world for yourself. And like how do you show these 2 flats are different?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I can do it for a side character and not for a main character.
I 100% agree that I'm the same with side characters. My little side characters are always my favorite people. I always feel like they jump off the page far more, and I don't understand why I'm like that. Like, why am I making these people like the side characters, and why have I chosen this person, these characteristics, this type of character as the main character? What like, yeah, like they're never like mine are the same. Like they are always extraordinary people, but they are never showing themselves to be extraordinary, or they hide, or they kind of shy away from it. And that's currently what I'm trying to figure out when I'm doing my comp reads is like how fast are these characters in these books displaying their extraordinary ability, and like how are they how do they react in the like how are they acting in the world, and what are they saying? Like, what are the things that they're saying? Because I like my thing really is I am not. I feel like I can write adult characters, but my initial like my natural writing style is not to be dark and heavy, and not even like dark and heavy because I can write like that. I just feel like I've always gravitated, which is why I was writing YA, to a more simplistic outlook on life, or like low stakes. I guess that's the thing, like much lower stakes. So to write adult characters is to write much higher stakes and to have much higher emotional reactions than a teenager might, because there's more, like, there's more to lose. It's not just
Yeah, right. It's more complex. Like in
yeah,
a lot of like YA fantasy, like it's life and death. It's the end of the world.
yes, yeah,
It's big stuff. But like, I think when you're a kid, the end of the world doesn't feel that big. Or like
yeah,
you're at the end of life doesn't feel that big. Like you're like it. It's big, but it almost feels like it's trapped inside you. Whereas when you're an adult, you'd be like,
mhm.
oh, I now feel the entire weight of every living person on it, and how do
Yes,
I
yeah. It's
save
like
all of them?
the older you get, like I always feel like the older I get, and I love horror films and I always have, but the older I get, the more scared I am of horror films, or the more scared I am of like roller coasters, because all of a sudden like the threat is far more real. Like dying in a roller coaster feels like a little bit more real now, and like a horror film feels too close to reality. Uh, and yeah, I think I'm kind of tackling that at the moment of how, and I am practicing. So I've started writing a side project where I'm just practicing writing different stuff, and my characters are adults. So I am kind of practicing in that respect, in a playful, sandboxy kind of way,
Yeah,
and that's really
yeah.
fun. And I'm kind of excited to see. Like, I haven't read back what I wrote the last time, but I'm excited to read it back and see, have I achieved, like, does this character read as somebody who's got more going on in like a full life, not just a life that's like encapsulated here in like a school? Does this person read like somebody who has got a full life of problems that they're trying to contain? I think that's probably it. But also like
Yeah.
swearing and stuff, bit of swears.
Um, yeah, I am the same. I think I don't know if it's for both of us, but for me, this came out of maybe last month's workshop. Is I wanted to have more of a fun place to practice writing, so I have got like a little notebook that I'm doing. Um, I haven't done this week because I've done too much writing,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to do little bits of writing in, and I'm really trying to push myself to have a character like with a quicker perspective. Um,
Yes.
I think I'm like you, like I think I'm slow to show somebody being extraordinary.
Yeah.
Um, I think partly it's like I think I like that sort of character. And I'm just doing it too much. Like I'm lingering out too long. But I like the sort of character where you feel like they're very relatable. And I think often when reading craft books, people talk about I think characters be relatable, and they sort of more mean admirable. Like you want to be them. But I think I actually quite like often like characters who you feel like you are them.
Yeah.
Um, and I just don't know if that's oof, like I think it's not necessarily well suited to like the current literary tastes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get a character being
Like an
maybe more admirable at the
aspirational.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was
aspiration is a good word.
yeah, I was watching a horror film this weekend, and
Mhm.
and it got to a point where the like it was an old film. It was from like the early 2000 and maybe like 2009, maybe earlier than that. But it was called The Descent, and I don't know if you ever saw it, about women who go down
Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
into a
That's
cave.
such a good film though, because it's so
It's
much about friendship. Like it's not just about horror. It's
yes,
very well done, the characterization.
it's effectively just a film
Absolutely nightmare
about women.
fueled.
Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah.
So good. But it got to a point where one of the women turned around and was like confronted by this horrible monster thing.
I
And
feel so scared to think about this film. It's so effective.
And I said to Brian, well, naturally she's gonna throw a punch, right? And she didn't. She just screamed. I was like, that is, I suppose, like a trigger point for what would you do, or what would, if I was writing that film, I would have had her natural reaction would be to punch it in the face. And I think,
would you ever punch a monster in the face? No,
yeah,
you'd run away, you'd scream.
no, but watching it, and the kind of like the woman that she was, because she was like the adventurous woman who had taken them into the caves, and she was like an adrenaline junkie. It's like, I'm just waiting for her to just.
But it's a literal monster.
It is a literal.
She's not an action hero.
Also, but it was blind, and
I don't think she was taking that in right then. Like,
my reaction was, if I wrote this, I would have her punch that thing in the face. And I think that it's just like, I can see why they didn't do that, because it's a horror film and she's a screaming woman, and you're probably just too close to it. Like, this is the thing, like, I get too close and I'm like, I have people react too realistically when I do think
The Descent is like a film about very realistic women. Like, it's not.
Yeah. But
it deliberately like brings the characters very.
Yeah,
you wanted like superhero women.
I wanted a final girl. Yeah, I wanted it to be like, and it's not a final girl movie though, which is the problem. I think I wanted it to be like a final girl thing where, you know, someone against all the odds survives, and no spoilers, but it doesn't end great. It's not.
But like,
it doesn't make you want to go into a cave system. That much is for sure.
It's not, and you shouldn't do it. No,
never go.
But like, I just before we were recording realized there was like a dead spider on the floor, and both of us were scared about it. And it's A, dead, and B, you're not even in this house. And I was like, I just need to pause before we start recording to go and put a book on the spider, even though I can see it's dead. But what if it, like, while I'm recording, unfurls its legs and comes and walks towards me and comes and gets me? So I like put the book on it, and then I also stood on the book. And I think, even though I can imagine I would get in the cave and I would do the descent, you know, I would be in that cave. I wouldn't even scream. I would just be like, you know what? Kill me now. Eat me and be done with me. I'm not getting out of here. I know I'm not, because it was just so scary.
It is scary, but I think like
I tried rewatching it and been like, actually, no, I can't rewatch it.
It was my second time, my first time watching it all the way through. I've never seen it to the end, but it was just, I think that's just like something to learn. Maybe like I don't really take that into consideration really when I'm watching. Like, I watch a lot of films and TV shows, and I do absorb some stuff, but I think there are those points where you want a character to do something, and I don't know if I naturally, when I'm writing myself, hear that voice of, what would the cool person do? Like, what could I do here where people go, oh, amazing. That's exactly what they should have done. And I think that is something that I really want to try and practice, like maybe in like my side project, is practice my characters always taking like the cool big approach to see if I can find.
Actually, for me, like I was saying recently, like I'm just writing the dialogue first in this book, and that is helping me make a bigger swing, because I think when I am trying to write like a whole chapter all at once, like the whole chapter has to have a certain shape, and when you're trying like description and action, reaction, dialogue at the same time, like you're trying to make all those things smoothly go together.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a character say something unexpected, that's actually quite annoying. When, as in unexpected in the flow of the conversation, like they sort of put the brakes on, or they contradict someone else, or they're like, let's go over here. It's quite hard to fit in. So I know I naturally steer away from that. And so actually just writing the dialogue first, it's a lot more funny and dramatic, and there's a lot more things where people are, which I think I need to do much more of as a general rule. And I read about this in a craft book that I absolutely can't remember what it was, but it was useful. Where I was like, have people make guesses, have people guess something and then be wrong. And that kind of ties into, we talk about a lot like Jennifer Lynn Barnes, how she's like, leave space for the reader to have an idea. So like when you have a character guess something, the readers also guess something, like what's going to happen next, or what's over there, then they're wrong, and it's surprisingly interesting. Actually writing the dialogue first is making me make more of those big guesses, because like there's no consequence to them making a guess if I'm not having to write it in the full chapter. And because they're just spitballing and it's
Yeah.
fun and like anything could happen. And I'll go and construct the rest of the chapter around there. So I think, yeah, finding ways in which you're sort of freeing yourself from whatever constraint it is that makes you smooth things is helpful. And it's, I think, partly for me as well, it's helping me um not not be bogged down by the fact like I think I need to work on my interiority still.
Mhm.
Like I'm trying to make the character come across in dialogue and not worrying too much about like, oh, what would she be thinking and what should be how do I show her reaction? I'm not having to worry about that. Like I'm just getting what would she say? So like at least I've got her voice out loud and at least
Yeah.
I've like got her sense of what she's intending to present herself as.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go
Yeah.
back and figure out like how to get her to be contrasted to that on the inside sometimes.
Yeah. I can't remember. You just said something that just reminded me of something that I was doing and I stopped doing, which was a very Taylor Swift inspired um like task that I had started, which was to find words that I like and save them somewhere, because I use the same words all the time and like my descriptions, and this is something that I've always, I mean, I think I'm good at descriptions in some way, but I definitely want to evolve. Like I obviously I want my craft to grow, I want to get better, I want to manage to construct much more realistic or effervescent worlds for people to, I know that's one of my words, for people to explore and feel like every time they read one of my books it's more immersive. And so I started collecting words that I would use, that I know in my vocabulary. Like not words that it's like Joey
You're not a
learning.
thesaurus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like using his thesaurus, tiny baby kangaroo. I, I know the words, but I don't use the words when I'm writing, and that maybe is just because I write fast, and so I do the smooth sailing, write things as smoothly as possible, and maybe that's hindering some part of my process. Not hindering in a bad way, like my writing's fine, but I do want to try and up my game when it comes to like prettyifying, beautifying. There we go. She got there in the end. I'm not good at all words. And then maybe
Just
I
the ones you
do need a
practice.
yeah, do maybe I do need a thesaurus or just a dictionary. Yeah, and so I need to get back into that, which just helps me expand my inner vocabulary, I think. Because I think my
It
inner
also like
and
helps you
outer are
create like a
different.
certain lexis, like that's your voice.
Exactly,
If you are
yes.
using a specific sort of word that like, oh, that's your
Hmm.
favorite sort of word, like
Hmm.
that's gonna kind of trigger in someone's head, like I'm reading, a book when it's sort of there.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully not to use the same words too often, but yeah, enough like you would associate specific words with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know
And I
like
think there's
off the
nothing
top
I
of my
think you
head,
want to have
but
like
I know there are some.
I think you do want to have like little repeated signatures almost.
Hmm.
I think that is nice. Like I even just like not necessarily specific words, but like as well specific things that you notice.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and the level at which you notice things.
Yeah.
Uh, so we've both kind of talked around the area that we're looking at improving at the moment. And they're to do with kind of making our books like more memorable, like
Hmm.
more something you'd recommend. Like I'm really trying to work on books that I think people would like that we like a word of mouth recommendation. And I think you do get that from characters because you want to have like a real emotional response to a book. And yeah, and I do really feel like in this current book, I've really got the side characters there, and they're not necessarily there right now, but like I know they will be there. I've got everything there that I need to make them find the final draft. Um, and I do really feel like it's interesting that the main character I've written the beginning multiple times. Like I really want to get her voice right and figure out what the insecurity is, and I'm just not. And like I know her motivation, and I know her background, who she is, and I am there's something more to it. There's something I'm resisting getting on the page. Um, and and it's useful to kind of make sure I'm aware of that and to not just gloss over it in a way that I would have done other books. So just to keep working on it. And I've got time. I'm working on several books in the series before I publish, so it is worth thinking about that. And I definitely feel like I've improved in many areas. And it's just like there's a thing that I'm not quite seeing right now. And it has been useful to go through the process of like seeing different things. So I started with character, and then I kind of moved on. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was more like looking at a specific aspect of character, I can't remember what it was, and then onto interiority. Uh, and I've done a lot of work on that, and I think like whatever the next thing is, I'll figure that out. Like there's another thing, there's another deeper layer. So I thought it was character, but it's not that. And I thought it was something else, but it's not that. And then I think it's interiority, but it's not that. So there's something else I'm not quite getting. So that has been really interesting because I think I previously would have thought, I obviously did think like it's characterization. I'll work on that. And it's not that. So it has been useful to like narrow down and to see what resonates. And so to get to where I am now, the resources I've had to use have been like very wide ranging. And a lot of stuff that I have used, it was not clear when I was looking at it what the actual benefit was. And like I'd be like, oh, this book is quite good, or this course is quite good and interesting, but I'm only really finding a couple of things in here I can use. But often like something stuck with me, or from it I've seen like, oh yeah, not this, something else. So I think we just want to talk a bit about like what sort of resources we've been using, because it's not like I'm going to say, oh, here's one perfect book for everybody, because whatever you need to work on right now, you need to figure out how to find your own resources in it. And so it's useful for us to talk about like how we started with different resources and then how we've kind of expanded from that to something else. So I am like a real book learner. So if I want to learn something, I'm like, what is the best book for this? So when I was looking at characterization, I did just Google like books characterization. And there were some really useful ones. There's nothing that I read that I was like, this is the one. Again, what like, and it might be that you're not looking at characterization, so I'm not gonna say like this is the book everyone needs to read. It was just like where I started. So I started like really broadly, and I read like the books on characterization. And when I was reading them, it was quite hard to read them without any. Um, it was hard to read them in the abstract because you just read them as like a fiction, like as in like there was nothing going in. So I was like, I want to read these books and do something alongside it so I can like practice the skill it's doing. So I planned uh, a book I was never going to write. So I planned a psychological thriller because it's a book with like a lot of characterization. And I planned a psychological thriller based on a book that I had read that I really liked. I was like, if I were going to change it to meet these requirements of my plot, what character change would I have to make? And I also had a book that I had drafted that I was not super happy with that I knew needed to change. I had like the Christmas mystery I worked on.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was also thinking like, what do I need to change about that? So I had really specific things in mind, not just like, what is character? And I literally have like on index cards planned the psychological thriller, and I have got notes on how to like page and page of notes on like how it improve the Christmas mystery. So it wasn't just like think about character; it was like literally go through the motions of doing these actions, and that was incredibly helpful and made me see where I still didn't know,
Yeah.
where I still had like questions and knowledge. So yeah, so I started with books because that's me. How have you started? You started with reading, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely an input person in like fiction, and like TV and film is my and books are my input. Like I do have like technical books and books like that I haven't yet picked up because when I think that it's something that I'm supposed to be learning, I don't think I really take it in as well. So I have to wait till I'm in a particular mind space to be like, okay, like I'm in learning mode. But when I'm just reading other people's books and trying to be critical, then that's a lot easier. So I've started doing that a lot more, and I'm keeping a little journal of when I finish a book, I write down what I liked about it, what characters I liked, what things I didn't like, and very much finding like the things that I'm drawn to. So the things that I'm drawn to which made me continue reading even if other aspects of a book weren't great. And also like when I had to DNF a book, like why I just couldn't get through it. And because all I can do is to go from my own personal taste, because you can overthink so much anyway that I really just have to do something that I myself would want to do. So I've been just like reading loads of books in and around my genre, or even if they're not in my genre, there's like a cuspiness to it. So I just finished reading like a pirate vampire romantasy, which is like, obviously I'm not gonna ever write a pirate book, but it had
There's a lot of pirate books around right now, so maybe.
People are loving pirates, and I love being on the ocean. I love being on a boat, but I don't really like reading about it. It's weird. But the reason that I loved the series, so I read the second book in the series because it has like the best love triangle that I've read in a while. So I was reading it for the love triangle and trying to figure out like what is it about this specific love triangle, because it's a classic trope and it's my bread and butter for everything. Like that's what I want. I always want a love triangle. And I will be writing a love triangle into my next series. So I'm just trying to take the elements that I like and write about what I think made them good, so that when I come to doing all my planning, I can like pick from those like revelations that I had of this love triangle was great because this person was like this and this person was shown like this, and then the main character reacted this way. So I've been documenting things in that way, and it's been really nice. And it also means obviously I get to read more, which has been fun, and I have been trying to stick to my genre, but I also have really found it useful to go astray a little bit every now and again and see what other genres have to offer, and that feels like good input. I feel like doing that purposefully has like turned something over in my brain. Like it's like I've turned over the compost heap just to be a weirdo. Like that's how I feel. Like I've like been putting things in, and now I've been kind of like turning it over, and this is not relatable to anybody who doesn't who doesn't garden, but that it feels productive. It feels like I'm creating something that I'll be able to use very soon.
Yeah.
It all came together in the end.
Yes. One thing I would do that's like an extension from that is like, I think it only appeals to certain people. So when I'm doing like reading on something, and if I think, oh, I really like that, whether it's in like my genre or not, but like there's something about it that's really sticking with me, is like really do a deep dive. There's certain authors that I've recently read who were doing something quite different that I loved. It's like, I feel like I need to figure out more about what this is. Is like, I would then go and listen to like 10 podcast interviews with them. And I think there's something that I don't think most people do, because I think it is weird. Is like, if I like something like a topic like interiority or someone like a certain author, is just search my podcast app and list like absolutely everything on the topic. Even if it's like an interview with the same author on the same book tour where they ask the same questions over and over again. Something about like someone answering the same question in different ways or slightly different versions of the question, when it's like something my brain is working over, like hearing somebody address that thing from multiple angles, it really makes it sink in a way that I think it doesn't when I only hear it once.
Yes, repetition is really the key for everything.
Yeah.
Like, I am a terrible person for reading something once and being like, yep, got it, because that works. It does work. That is the way that I learn a lot of stuff, but that's the way I learn things physically, and sometimes I think that that's how I learn things mentally, and it's not. Like it's in no way
I think
the
that's
same.
how I like learn something in a way that I could repeat it, but it's not something I can learn in a way that I can do it.
Yes.
So yeah, I've really forced myself, and like I have a lot of podcasts I listen to that are just interesting, and I will not listen to those. I will just listen to like every interview I've downloaded on a certain topic or a podcast on a certain topic, and I'll just queue them up like 10 in a row on interiority or deep POV or something, and just force myself like listen to that, even as people that I do not like their podcasts. I want to hear them. I almost find that easier because I can't not listen.
I wish that
just,
I could do that. I wish that I could listen to a podcast, because do you listen to them whilst you're doing other things? Or do you just sit and listen?
I'm doing something where I can pay attention, so like I don't just sit and listen. That's not a psychopath.
Yeah, that is.
But like, I'll be
sorry to everyone who just sat in a room listening to us.
That's crazy. Just staring at the wall. That's insane. No, But I live by myself, so I often have my ears are available. So like if I'm washing up or I'm doing like morning chores or I'm going out for a walk or I'm getting my nails done, like almost all the time I'm listening to podcasts. Uh, and I would hate to know how many hours of podcasts I listen to a week because I
Yeah, you
imagine all
listen
the human
to
interaction you
a
have.
lot. Yeah,
I just
but
listen to podcasts.
I can't like when
And I
I
very
listen
rarely
to a
listen to music. I don't
podcast.
often listen to music, so I just listen to
See,
podcasts for
I
repeat.
listen to music a lot, and I tried listening to podcasts when I was like doing the dishes, which is it's fine. I can sometimes do that, but then I started trying to listen to podcasts whilst I was at work, and I can't. I can't because when people are talking, I actually turn them off. I tune out, and that's why like at work when people are talking to me, I just don't listen. And then people are like snapping in my face, like, Sam, I'm like, I'm sorry, I stopped listening. I completely stopped listening to you. And I found that I do the same with a podcast, unfortunately. So I'm kind of at a bit of a loss at the moment. I haven't really got the time, and I've like fallen behind on my listening because my brain is all of a sudden like, don't listen to people talking. This isn't helpful. So
But like,
yeah,
what
I
do you
need
listen
to
to when
figure
you're
that out.
walking Juno?
I don't listen to anything when I'm walking
Oh
Juno.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because I am
You're
an
one with nature.
interactive walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talk to Juno when we're walking, and I talk to people that I see. So yeah, I unfortunately can't have earphones in when I'm walking because yeah, I'm in the world.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I
I
think
don't.
yeah. I mean, I always have one headphone in. So like even if I'm talking to you, I probably have a headphone in, listen to something else. I think that's the benefit of listening to like a lot of podcasts on one topic. I know we've got niche on podcasts here, but like this is an example of a type of input that we like.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I will listen to like a lot on one topic. And like I am actually fine if I tune it out, because if I've tuned it out, it's not interesting or relevant. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, clearly that's not helped me. And then often I will just
Hmm.
go back a bit if I realize like, oh, I missed something that was interesting or useful.
Yeah.
And I go back. And I think because I'm listening at the moment, like just on one topic, at volume on something, and like if it doesn't catch me, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so because I like podcasts, like that's my input of choice, but I also like books. So I've done both of those a lot. Like whatever people like is, find your thing.
Hmm.
And I have also done courses, and I would say the other benefit to picking a certain topic that you're working on, like a certain craft topic, is I have told other author friends that I'm working on this, and they will send me course packs of courses they've done, or like links to something that I should do, um, and incredibly helpful. Like
Yeah.
it's easier than, because if you just Google like a course on this thing, you'll get a bunch of nonsense up.
Yeah.
But having friends recommend stuff to you is useful. So yeah, that has been good. I have done various Googling to find things. I would say, oddly, the thing that both Google AI result and general AI hallucinates about most is podcast episodes. It will recommend you a list of 10 podcast episodes that do not exist. And you'll be like, oh, sorry. I just thought that's the sort of podcast you'd like. I was like,
Yeah.
it is. Imagine if I asked you for the real one. So yes, so it's not helpful for actually Googling that. And my podcast app does not have a great search function. So it's a bit of work to try and find it. But yeah, but I would say telling people like, I'm working on this right now. Do you have any books or courses or anything to recommend?
Yeah.
And being quite broad with what you accept, because I think it has
Hmm.
been often the stuff that I was quite closed off to that has turned out to be very
Yes.
useful, because if I was open
Okay.
to it, I would have done it before now.
This definitely ties into our asking for help
Yeah,
conversation.
100%.
And I agree. I think I do need to maybe ask more people like, how did you get better
Hmm.
at doing this? How did you transition from writing this genre to this genre? Because I think that's maybe just like a fear that I have that I can't do it, even though I know that I can. Sometimes I just think it's just a mental
Do you think
block, like,
the answer might be
oh,
like, I'm just a better person than you and they'll be able to do it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, you just can't, so don't try. Um, no, I think I just need to ask other people what they're doing, which
Yeah.
is always
And I think
my
it's beneficial that
downfall.
it's a close genre. Like if I were moving from crazy fantasy to like epic fantasy, I would really feel anxious.
Yeah.
Um, Even though I've read plenty of epic fantasy, and like it's, I mean, I think it would be weird for me to do it because it's not a genre that I'm interested in, like stakes wise.
Mm-hmm.
I might move there, you know, from cozy to epic fantasy, but I wouldn't move from cozy mystery to epic fantasy.
Yeah.
For me. Um, but if I were going to do it, I would feel anxious about asking friends because they'd be like, "No, that's a terrible idea. You couldn't do that," and I don't want to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas cozy fantasy, I feel like everything that I am good at is in cozy fantasy. There might be things that I've not yet got good at that are in it, but like everything I am good at is in there.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't feel like it's hard to ask people about
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm missing.
Yeah. I
Because I
am
know there's things that I'm good
excited
at.
to even like I'm excited to write my next series, even thinking that I'm not going to do a good job, which is like a weird place to be. Because I remember before I
My stomach
started writing,
just had a real unpleasant like roll when you said that.
I
I
know
feel
it,
that feels
but I think the thing is like the fear isn't a real fear. Like the like the saying like, oh, it might not be great. Probably like that's just my brain saying, if you accept it won't be great, then you're protecting yourself. But when I started writing my current series, I was really like, oh, I can't write this kind of book. Like I felt like it was a real like step up to have to write more like gothic and introspective, and I guess a little bit more lyrical prose, like a lot more flowery than I've written before. And I thought that then I thought I couldn't do that and it would be a real struggle. But once I got into it, it was fine. And I realized, oh, no, I can do that. So my thoughts now of writing my next series and feeling like, oh, but can I do this kind of writing? I
yeah.
think like I probably can, but I'm not going to know till I start. And I just have to be okay with not knowing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think like maybe keeping that in mind while you're writing, like what crafting am I working on improving? For me, it's really helping
Yeah.
me think about like what other help might I need? Because we talked recently about like wanting to think about how to get like beta edits or dev edits and things. And like
Hmm.
I'm trying to think about where can I already see gaps that somebody will point out.
Yeah.
Um, and you know that feels fixable. So I feel like I could
Hmm.
be start thinking about how to fix that now. Like where could I find resources on that, and where could I find examples of like that done well, and like really trying to read other books for examples of that done well, like notice more what they're doing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think in the past I've maybe shied away from like focusing too much on my weaker areas because then you feel like, yeah, I can't. What if I can't do it? What if it's awful? Um, but it does really feel like you know focusing on that makes you think like, okay, how am I gonna work on that?
Yeah, like I definitely know if I'm thinking about these areas that I want to strengthen, then that's what I'll strengthen when I write this book, because
Yeah,
I'm actively aware. Like I know I want my characters to be snappier. I want them to be like more mature and have more complex lives. I want my first chapter to be like an immediate punch and not to spend like 5 chapters just describing
some ivy.
yeah, like the ivy on the walls, which I love, but I'm not doing
Hmm.
that in this next book. Like that
Hmm.
was fine, but like I'm currently reading a book where within the first, I don't think the chapter's over yet. The premise within the first like 5 pages has already been set up. It's like, here I am.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. Oh, I've done it.
Hmm.
I'm on my way. So
Yeah.
that's like I've internally been like, okay, that's what I need to do.
Yeah. And it feels like doable, right? Like I think that's the same thing that I want to do in my like I want to get my character on the page really strongly straight away, but without having them to be in your face. So
Yeah.
it's like I, I'm figuring out like how, you know, I'm reading to be more sensitive towards that. And that is really enjoyable. And so I know
Hmm.
we've waffled a lot on this podcast episode,
Yeah.
but because we're not being specific, we're not being like, here's the crafting that you need to work on.
Hmm.
No, we're just talking about like how we've thought about craft and where we've looked for resource and what's been helpful. Um, we're going to get much more specific in the next couple of episodes. But I hope this has been useful,
Yeah. I'm
maybe.
sure it has. I'm sure people just love to listen to us, yeah, ramble on and
Ramble
on
on.
whilst
Yeah.
they're sitting in a room just looking at a wall. It's fine, don't worry.
Like I said,
Okay, so next week we are doing a live writing critique. Why are we doing that?
sounds horrible. I don't know why we would think that's a good idea. That sounds awful.
were full of so much energy when we decided. We were so like, oh, this is a great idea.
It's a great idea, the best idea I've ever had. Yeah, I don't know why we thought that. It actually seems like a terrible idea. I think it will be good. I don't know why we thought it's a good idea, but I think it will be good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the people who decide what episode we should do are quite far from the ones who have to do the episodes.
Yeah.
They're all us, but like they're different versions of us.
They are
so yes,
different,
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I kind of think I know what I'm bringing to the table, but we'll see what that is. And and everyone else also will.
Yeah.
See what that is. Yeah, if you want to join in this kind of conversation about craft and maybe offer us some solutions, if you have also been working on this and you have some courses or some links or some podcast episodes, please feel free to jump into the Discord group and pop it in the resources
and
section.
ask us for resource help as well.
And
ask
also
everyone got some ideas.
Yeah, ask us what we're actually working on. You can also find anything that we've talked about that might have a link. Not fake links from Gemini, but real links. We will put them in the show notes, and you can kind of have a look and see what we've been talking about. We're always in Discord all the time, so come and hang out with us. Maybe. Yeah, and yeah, that's the episode. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.